Hey y'all, so today we'll be talking about z-score calculations. If you don't know what a z-score is, a z-score tells us how many standard deviations the original observation falls away from the mean and in which direction. So the problem we'll be using is scores on the Wechsler Adult Intelligence Scale, a standard IQ test for the 20 to 34 age group, are approximately normally distributed with the mean equaling 110 and the standard deviation equaling 25. So important things to note in this is normal distribution, z-scores can only be normally distributed. And a normal distribution looks like this. Or maybe better artwork. And we know from what we just read that the mean is 110 with standard deviation of 25. So that means that it can go above 25, below 25. So 110 plus 25, that would be 135. Plus 25, that's 160, if I'm correct. And then going lower, well, we'll do that math later. But a normal distribution looks like this, and the space above the area underneath equals 1. So for question A, it is asking what percent of people aged 20 to 34 have IQ scores above 100. So to find this, you need to know the z-score formula, which is z equals x, which is the original observation, minus mu, which is the mean, over little sigma, which is the standard deviation. So for A, we know that we need to find scores above 100. So our observation will be 100 minus our mean of 110 over 25. Now you can plug that into your calculator or do it by hand, but I'd rather do it by calculator because it's easier and more time efficient. So 100 minus 110 divided by 25 equals negative 0.4. Now with our negative 0.4, we're going to look at our z-score chart and find the number that corresponds with it. So negative 0.4, sorry, it's really hard to see. It's 0.3446. So if you come over here, it equals 0.3446. Now on here, that will be below over there. But what we're trying to find is above 100. So in order to find that, we'll take the area, which is 1, and subtract it from the 0.3446. So 1 minus 0.3446 equals, calculator, 1 minus 0.3446 equals 0.6554. Now that number, we want to turn it into a percentage, since question A was asking for what percent of people have IQ scores above. So in order to do that, we'll multiply this 0.6554 by 100 to make it into a percent, and you get 65.54 for your final answer for A. If you were wondering the reason why we couldn't subtract negative 0.4 from 1 is because you cannot subtract z-scores. So that's why we found what the z-score is from our chart and then subtracted it. And then that's how we came up with our percentage 65.54%. Now question B is asking what percent have scores above 150. As you can see, I kind of already set up what we're going to be working with here so it doesn't take up as much time and I don't have to erase as much. So I have the formula up here if you need to remember it. Oh, I have dots all over my hand. So what I already did is I plugged in 150 minus 110, the mean, over the standard deviation of 25. And when I put that into my calculator, it equaled 1.6. Now looking at the z-score chart, 1.6 also equals 0.9452. Now that number is all of this over here. The area of this chart is 1. So since we're still trying to find the percent of people above 150. So if you look at it a different way too, if you were to have changed this into a percent, it would have equaled 94.52%. And that's way more than what we found in A. So if you look back at it, we're trying to find this little area here. And in order to find that, we're going to do 1 minus 0.9452. If you plug that into your calculator, 1 minus 0.9452, you get, I'll write that over here, 0.0548. Now turn that into a percent, since that's what we're looking for. We're going to multiply it by 100, and we will get 5.48%. And this right here is our final answer for B. We basically just followed the same process from A to find our answer for B. So for our last question, which is C, it's asking how high an IQ score is needed to be in the highest 25th percentile. So the highest 25th percentile also translates to 75%. Now this question, we have to work backwards. Since it's giving us a percent, we're trying to find a score. So basically we're trying to find X. So in order to do that, 75% can also be 0.75. Now with this number, we're going to look inside of our textbooks or our z-score charts and try and find the number closest to 0.75. Now in here, I have, it's hard to see. Well, I'll just tell you. I have 0.7486. That's closest than the ones around it, so that one is what is closer to 0.75. And the number, or the z-score for that, is 0.67. So if we come over here, we're going to set up our equation. And since we don't know x, x is just going to stay like that, minus our mean of 110 over 25. And that will equal the z-score we just found, which is 0.67. Now in order to do this, I guess we're kind of going back to algebra. So what you do is 0.67 times 25. Because for this, you have to multiply both sides by 25. So this will cross out, and then times, oh, that's really ugly, times 25 will equal 16.75 equals x minus 110. And then you'll add 110 to this side. And the answer you get is, I'll do it up here, 126.75. So that equals x. So if you want, you can round it to 127, but I'm going to keep it at 126.75 to be more specific. So our answer for C, to be in the highest 25 percentile, your IQ score would have to be 126.75.